All right, so episode 5 of Silo. We finally are starting to get a few more answers on things, but now there's even more puzzles stacked on top of this. And we're essentially halfway through the first season at this point, and I have to ask the question of how are they possibly going to wrap all of this up in one season, or is this going to end up in a cliffhanger and then we hope that there's a season 2 renewal? Because I haven't actually read that there's a season 2 renewal yet. I don't know that we know. If we do, if someone knows that, let me know in the comments below. But I haven't been like actively scouring the internet for things. I've just been sort of, you know, in the background watching this show. I'm actually a week behind on my reviews even because this is, episode 6 aired I think last night, and I'm just now getting around to my season 5 viewing today. Um, in any case, if you haven't watched one of my reviews before, I don't do spoiler free. It's spoiler full. We're talking all the things for the episode, so make sure you've seen it before you go through. This is your countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, obviously, we pick up where the last episode left off, which is with Marnes having been killed by someone. And the course of this episode is figuring out who did that. And we do get an answer to that, but there's also wheels within wheels going on here because um, the the person, at least if I'm not mistaken, the person who did it is working for Judicial, and he in turn was working underneath. I'm not going to remember his name, but the character that's played by Common. Um, and there's this long discussion the two of them have before he pushes him off the edge and gets rid of the evidence about the janitor's door and what's behind it and how no one can ever know and all these other things. Um, and there's this other discussion going on about how the judge, Mayers, I think is her name, something like that, is willing to do whatever it takes to keep order within the silo, whatever it takes. And Judicial are her, arms. And we get Common's character being willing to do whatever it takes to keep that order as well. And I don't know if his orders are coming from her or if his orders are coming from somewhere else. But their whole thing was they wanted to set Juliette up as an idiot. And basically, they tried to frame someone else for Marnes. Or at least that's what the attempt, but Juliette was all on top of it. She was a step ahead, and she managed to find out that they had planted evidence in this apartment because they were hoping that the guy that they were trying to pin the murder on was going to fall for it, and then they would be able to arrest him before the new sheriff, Juliette, and then that makes Juliette look bad, and then she'd be out, and the Billings guy would be in, which is the guy that they want for, the Judicial wants for sheriff. By the way, she's been saddled with him as deputy now that Marnes is gone. Anyway, she's ahead of the curve because they don't know. Judicial doesn't know that the guy who used to live there at the apartment, the address that Judicial has, he doesn't live there anymore. And the only reason that Juliette knows that is because the day before she was with Marnes when they went to investigate the dude and his ex in a completely different place. And so armed with this information, Juliette goes back to that apartment and just lays in wait and waits for the guy from Judicial to show up to arrest the guy that they think is inside with the fake planted evidence that they've got inside. And she confronts him and says, "It must suck to be you guys to not know that this isn't his real address, and the fact that I've got all of that fake evidence right here with me. Gonna have to arrest you now." And the guy runs. She runs after him. There's a long chase scene down the ramps. There's a confrontation. He almost pushes her off the edge. She hangs on by a fingernail. People save her. That guy runs off, and that's when we have the discussion between him and Common. And Common's like, you done fucked up both on Marnes and both on this other thing. And then he gives a long speech that doesn't really matter, and then offs the guy, shoves him over the edge. So there's a lot going on here, and I think at the end of the day, we've gotten some answers that Judicial is behind a lot of things. I have a question though: is there anybody above Judicial? That's the one thing I don't know. There's another subplot that comes up during this episode, which is a new mystery, which is there's a guy who's been sketching the sky um, in in the cafeteria, I believe it is, looking out the monitor. and he's noticed this repeating pattern, and it's going around like this and around, and he just sees it in different places. So he's been drawing it. It looks like a W, so to speak. And Juliet sees that, and she goes down to her old uh, um, mentor, the lady with the braids, the old lady who never leaves her office, and she's asking that lady if she's ever seen the lights before, and she doesn't know what they are. Nobody knows what they are. So that's another mystery that's been added on top of the other things we need to know. And then the old lady pulls out that old camcorder and starts talking about how, she's maybe uncovered what this thing might be, because she says it's a lot like the lenses the lenses that we use to make the IDs, but this is a lot more complex. And then she launches into this thing about, have you ever read the Pact? And Juliet's like, no. Well, apparently in the pack there are two specific rules that are unique to the silo and that are very, very strict. One is which there can be no mechanized travel up and down the lift of any kind. No lifts, no pulleys, nothing. Don't know why that is. I would love to know why that is. The second is that there can be no devices of magnification. And they talk about this when Juliet borrows a magnifying glass to like try to see, what is on the inside of this camcorder. So they're trying to figure out what the camcorder is. And she's like, I can't see. Do you have one of the devices that my mom used to have, like the double magnification? This lady's like, no, no, no. Just this one alone would get us, fried. Because it's a relic, and it's against the pact. So I don't know why the pact won't allow them to have magnification unless it has something to do with what they can see out that monitor in the sky, because if they had magnification, they would maybe be able to see the things that the guy is seeing when he sketches. I don't know. I have lots of questions. I don't have any answers. So we have gotten some answers, but we've also now got more questions. Also, very suspicious is the fact that the mayor, the now mayor, who previously was the head of IT. Previously, he didn't want Juliet for the job, and now he loves Juliet for the job and wants to be buddy buddy with her and wants her to succeed. And I'm sitting here going, what's going on with that? And Juliet also recognizes that. She tells her old lady mentor that, like, I can't quit now. I've got them in my pocket. They trust me. I need to leverage that trust to try to find out what happened to George and, the deputy now and Holton and all this. So there's all these mysteries that she has to solve, and the plot just keeps getting thicker. So I'm intrigued. Got some answers. Got some more mysteries. I'm still along for the ride. I think it's a good show so far. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down in the comments below. I'll see everybody in the next episode. Till then, stay safe and happy viewing.